Hi, my name is Greg. I'm an atheist. I post this GKLR here on YouTube, and I would like to make what I want to describe as a form video. And I think you get a form letter where it's just written out to anonymous and it's sent to everyone. Well, this is a form letter for atheists who are making the claim that atheism is a lack of belief in God or an absence of belief in God, or that an atheist is someone who doesn't believe in God. Okay? The argument as to why you're wrong is built in logic and formal logic as understood as primary or secondary predication. Okay, so essentially what you're doing is you're describing what something is by what it isn't, or saying what we are is what we aren't. And if you look up lack or absence in the dictionary or anywhere as a reference tools, that I think you'll find that it always uses the operator not, the logical operator not, as well. You say it's a non-belief or something like this. Really, it's only a not belief, effectively, when we talk about it in a logical sense. So, basically, when I say that I don't have horns, or I lack a tail, or I don't have 10 legs, then all those statements are true, but they aren't true about me. They're true about what I'm not. And there's the difference. When we get into a more advanced concept of application of truth, and from my understanding is that when we are talking about an existence of an object, if we have a truth about an object, it must exist. It comes from René Descartes. It says, I think, therefore I am. So if I think is true, then I am must be true. That's what I think, therefore I am is really saying. If I think is true, or if I pee is true, or if I eat is true, then I am must be true. It can't be true that I pee or eat or think if I don't exist. Okay. So effectively this boils down to saying that the primary predicate of a statement must exist if the statement is true. And when we use the logical operator not, then we're talking about secondary predication. And we're talking about what we're not. Again, the statement is true, but it's true about what we're not what we are. So it's kind of deceptive in that way. But not really, because when we apply it to existence, then when we have a truth about an object and we can prove it exists, then if this also applied under secondary predication, then if I said, if God doesn't exist, and that's true, then it would prove that God does exist. So this is the logical problem that you would end up with in saying that we were saying that atheism is, I'm very tired, that atheism is saying a lack of belief in a God, or somebody who doesn't believe in God. This is why we must say that an atheist is somebody who believes there's no God. Now, atheists try to avoid saying that because they believe, mistakenly, that they will be involved in a burden of proof argument. The burden of proof lies on somebody making the claim. But no. The burden of proof argument lies on those making a claim of truth, not a claim of belief. You can't prove a belief is true or it stops being a belief. It starts being a truth. So those atheists that are so inclined to say that the atheism is a lack of belief are not only failing basic logic, but also they're doing so based on an unreasonable fear of the burden of proof argument, which wouldn't even apply anyway because it only applies to those claiming something is true, not something that they believe. So there you go. There's the difference. The difference between primary and secondary predication. It evolves into worse problems when you bring into logic in a more formal sense, because it would be saying that effectively Greg doesn't exist proves that Greg does exist, and it'd be so nonsensical as to say we are what we aren't. Something is what it isn't. And this is why those atheists making this claim are likely to get this form video sent to them as a reply at some time. So this is like a form letter saying, show me your logical reasoning, how you can say that something is what it isn't. Something we are what we aren't. And when you say that atheism is a lack of belief or an absence of belief in God, then that's what you're doing. You're saying that atheism or atheists are not anything, doesn't matter what it is, then you're saying that what we are is what we are not. Okay? It might be true that I do not believe in God, That's not true about me. That's true about what I do not have. Okay? So I welcome your replies, and I welcome how you overcome the issues of primary and secondary predication in a logical sense. For any atheist claiming that atheism is a lack of belief in God. And here's your chance to stop being a parrot for all those people at the top that tell you that this is what atheism is, that you think that you might avoid a burden of proof argument that you don't need to get involved with in the first place, and you can say that you disagree with Richard Dawkins because this is certainly how he also makes this mistake, and you don't have to parrot the mistakes of Richard Dawkins only because you haven't thought about it. If you're a free thinker, I welcome for any free thinker to respond to this form letter with reasoning why secondary predication is what describes what an object is, when you're clearly saying it's what it isn't. But I'm all ears for that.